Well, some of Canada's biggest banks will reportedly be required to report to an ombudsman later this week. Let's go live to CTV's Renee Rogers, who's following the details of this story. Renee, what major changes will be coming this Friday from the banks?
Hi, Jamie. Well, if you bank with RBC, TD, the National Bank of Canada, Scotiabank, or Scotiabank's online banking division, Tangerine, and you have a dispute with your bank, you can now take that dispute to the Ombudsman for Banking Services and Investments, or OBSI for short. Now, this is an independent, not-for-profit organization. It was created in 1996 to investigate disputes and recommend compensation. And all Canada's big banks at the time were on board. But beginning in 2008, some banks started leaving in favor of for-profit third-party services handpicked by the banks themselves. Well, that prompted some criticism, as well as a study from the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, which found some flaws in having multiple third-party dispute resolution services, one of which would be that there is a risk that if these services work for banks, then they're going to naturally try to appeal to the banks rather than consumers. So this study prompted new legislation forcing these banks to return to membership with this ombudsman service as of Friday, essentially returning the complaint system to one central place for Canadians, Jamie.
In what other ways do these changes impact their customers?
Well, put it this way, it's becoming more and more likely, Jamie, that you could find yourself in a dispute with your bank. Why is that? Well, the amount of bank fraud is just jumping dramatically. According to OBSI itself, in its 2023 annual report, banking inquiries jumped by 56% year over year, setting a new record. So certainly you could find yourself a victim of fraud, and you want to make sure, of course, that somebody has your back if you end up in a dispute with your bank account now, or your bank. But one thing, Jamie, one criticism of all of this is that this ombudsman, the decisions are not binding. So that is one criticism. And actually, it sparked a lot of calls for it to be binding. And the Canadian Securities Administrators have actually already set out a framework in which to do so. And we actually reached out to the federal government today for a response and to see if there's any update. And they're just preparing a response for us right now, Jamie.
That's CTV's Renee Rogers. We appreciate that report. Thank you.
You're welcome.